Good evening. The Ugandan constitution left very little legroom on the replacement of a dead speaker, which prompted a nerve-wracking 3 days of political contest that will produce a new speaker tomorrow. In this contest of wits and power, everything has been thrown to the fan, from tribalism to representation and party internal politics. Tonight on The Spot visits this debate with Dan Kimosho, who's leading the campaign for Anita Among, Asuman Basalirwa, who's challenging for the speaker seat, and Okot Moses Junior Bitek, who's running for the deputy speaker position. Gentlemen, thank you very much for having honored our invitation. Honorable Basalirwa and Honorable Kimosho, a warm welcome to both of you.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all our viewers.
And we hope very soon we shall be joined by a third participant in this show. Let me begin with you, Honorable Dan Kimosho, because you belong to the NRM party, and the NRM has chosen somebody who they are going to present tomorrow to the House so that she can compete for the position of speaker. But we also know that members of parliament coming from northern Uganda were asking the NRM party and their colleagues to actually choose somebody from the north. For you to have chosen to give Honorable Anita Among the position of speaker so that she can contest, that is really a kick in the gut for MPs coming from the north.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kamala, and our viewers. Allow me, first of all, to really express my sympathies to the country, and once again to the Parliament of Uganda, to northern Uganda, to Acholi region, to Moro County, for the great loss of our leader as Parliament. We are in very tough times, but like you clearly put it, that the framers of the law maybe did not envisage this situation, and therefore they left a very small, if at all any, legroom for flexibility, just in case the unfortunate happened like how it has happened this time. And because of that oversight in the framing of the law, the 11th Parliament has been really, I think we have looked a bit not nice in the eyes of the public. Because when people see us in elections, they think it is our wish. No, it's not. It is the law dictating that nothing can happen at Parliament, not even bringing the body of our late leader in Parliament. It cannot happen without a new speaker. So for that, we want really to apologize to the public. It's not the wish of parliamentarians. It's not even the wish of government. I think the framers of the time did not envisage this situation, and they never addressed their mind to it. And it is what it is, and that's how we must manage it. So we are managing a situation as it is. Having said that, yesterday there was SEC meeting, and SEC brought out, we had 13 candidates who had expressed interest. We have procedures in our party, the NRM party, and they have been announcing them on all the media houses. Expression of interest, and people expressed interest, 13 expressed interest. By today morning, one had opted out, Dr. Jane Luther Cheng. Then when they vetted them, I think by yesterday morning, when they vetted them and they sat with SEC brought out one person, who is the Right Honorable Anita Among. We call her AAA. Now, we have tried as much as possible as a party to lessen politicking in this matter. We have much as possible.
Let me just hold on to your point there, Honorable Kimosho. Are you aware that the people of northern Uganda, the people's representative, were asking you that let this position go back to northern Uganda?
I was coming to that.
Yes, but you're aware about that?
I want to come to that.
Was that too much to ask?
I want to come to that.
Was that too much to ask?
I want to come to that. We have tried as much as possible to listen politicking, and we have tried to build a consensus as a party. And that's how we zero down on Right Honorable Anita Among. And precisely for one reason or two, there is a precedent that when the speaker leaves, the deputy will come, will be elevated. It has never happened that we lose a speaker in the middle of his term, not even in the middle, when they are still in chair. It has happened for the very first time. But when our chairman was explaining to us, they avoided a contradiction of doing what has not been the norm. And then they decided to bring Right Honorable Deputy Speaker. But also, the 9 months he has chaired us also gave her an ample time to prove her worth to the country, to Parliament, and to the government and the party of NRM. So they decided to bring...
So are you telling me that you have how you do your things, but your members of Parliament in the NRM had no idea, that's why they are fronting themselves?
No.
Then if they are party members who know the modus operandi of the party, why did they even have to to contest?
We are operating a democracy. True or false?
So if that is a democracy, then in fact what you are doing is a selection, not an election.
Maybe you will agree. In a democracy, people are allowed to participate. But also there is a room for a party, especially for us who are operating a multi-party system. Because this is not the first time. When we are voting our departed leader, SEC still decided and gave us one candidate. And it's not out of the norm, it happens. So, SEC, in its powers and its wisdom, chaired by our chairman, found it important and necessary that they send us Right Honorable Anita Among. And we agree with them for one reason, that one, she has proven her worth over time. Two, we don't really want to engage much in politics. It's better we build a consensus. Now, about the northern question of saying we ring fence, the president also explained this today. It's very dangerous to start to ring fence national positions, especially at that level.
How is that even different from saying the deputy speaker moves on? It's already ring fenced for Honorable Anita Among.
No. That's the practice. Because the next thing is...
That's semantics. You have ring fenced it in some way.
The next thing is, when you ring fence those positions to regions, then whichever region holds, it will even be very hard in future for the president to do a cabinet.
So do you believe right now you have angered so many people in northern Uganda? We are living in a somber moment, in a sorrowful time, with the people who are telling you, this man who is iconic, who is charismatic, who just left us, who just led the parliament for only 9 months, has tried actually to unite the parliament. And they're saying, look, just give us an opportunity to continue with the legacy of this man. Do you understand that that single act has actually divided Uganda tonight more than ever?
By the way, if you want me to be honest, the people I have seen cry loud about Right Honorable Olanya and how it is a northern affair, in our first campaigns, were not in support of him. And they record...
Do you know what I've just said?
Yes.
They are shedding crocodile tears now?
No, I have my words. The little English...
That those who are crying now are not the people who actually support... That's what you have said.
No,
that the people who are crying now, they actually did not support him. Is that what you're saying?
Why don't you leave me to express myself, Kamara? I'm saying, it is not that every MP from North is fronting that. the few ones I have had, for example, and I can, you know them.
No, I don't.
Actually, I've, so who has been saying it if you don't know? At least I've seen one who has been bringing in a lot of sectarianism, tribalism, one, but he's also known for doing that even when there's nothing major. But even when Honorable Late was contesting, he denounced him. He said, this man is, you know, he said his words, I don't want to go there. But the president also explained that today. He told us, one, it is dangerous to go into a trick of allowing to ring-fence national positions. That is one.
Okay.
Two, the issue of uniting parliament is true. Honorable Bolanya united, Right Honorable Jacob Bolanya united parliament. It's true that he had started on serious efforts of uniting northern Uganda. But that is not premised on the region. It is premised on the character of Right Honorable Jacob Bolanya.
Let me move on to the
and
other
the president explained clearly that
yes,
any other person...
You will, Honorable Kimosho, you will continue on that.
Okay.
Let me also say we have been joined by the Honorable Okot Moses Junior Bitek. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamara, and honorable colleagues in the studio, and dear listeners and viewers.
And I understand you're running for the Deputy Speaker tomorrow. You're in the race.
Affirmative.
It seems to be in your sights, but before I can come to...
Can I close on that? And the president actually told us that when in the forming of this government, there was an issue because they had appointed the Chief Justice, who was from northern Uganda. And then the position of the Speaker also came. Actually, not only from northern Uganda, but Acholi. And people are like, no, you cannot give the Acholi Chief Justice and give them the Speaker. And he said, no, this is not about regions. This is about, at times, it's about competence and who is available to do what. Right Honorable Jacob Bolanya was the Deputy Speaker. They could not sacrifice him because the Chief Justice had taken...
Okay, with all respect, now I have to go to the other people who are here. The Honorable Okot Moses and the Honorable Asuman Basalirwa. I understand you are actually into the race. Tomorrow you're going to be tussling it out with the Honorable Triple A, but you also know you represent Gemma in that party. You're a one-man army. You're swimming against the current, sir.
So
you're going to drown.
So you leave it to
politically, you will drown tomorrow.
now I think you make a very big mistake.
Make your case.
To assume that that parliament and the MPs do not know what they want. Secondly, you also make a wrong assumption.
There are many precedents.
Yes, and I'll come to that. And
including a formidable person in the name of the Honorable Semuju Nganda. You only got 15. If you increased your votes by over 200%, still you come out short.
Yes, yes. And me, by nature, I don't engage in defeatist arguments. Today, in the opposition caucus, I was giving my own history and background in politics. The first time I contested to become MP was 2001. I don't know where you were, Mr. Kamara. I went to contest for youth MP Eastern Uganda. It's electoral college politics. I got 1 vote. It was 1 vote.
Yes.
It was not even mine because I was not a member of the electoral college. Because you see, electoral college politics is very good. You can be a candidate.
You use this thing, eh?
You can be a candidate and not a voter. And since 2001, I've been participating in successive elections. Now, if I had given up in 2001, I wouldn't be MP. Because eventually to become MP, I had contested very many times. And all those times, there were discussions, you know, saying, first abandon Gemma. Why don't you go to FDC? Why don't you go to NRM? But I moved with the principle in physics, and I know you are well versed with the physics. Consistency makes water to wear away a rock. Consistency. And that's what is important. So even the president you are talking about, presidents have changed. In life, presidents have changed. You a follower of football, you hear stories that Man U has never lost on this ground for the last 20 years, but eventually it loses. So what is important for us is consistency. But to say that we should be inconsistent in the struggle is to make a very big mistake. Number 3, Dan and his colleagues, our colleagues, we live with them in parliament. In another forum, Dan here is my boss. He chairs the ad hoc committee investigating the Nakawa Naguru land. I'm his member. We have a personal relationship. What stops me from convincing Dan to vote for me?
I've actually seen you try a little bit.
Yes, so these are our colleagues. We live with them. We have a duty to engage them. Because, Patrick, we are not electing a speaker for the NRM. We are electing a speaker for the national parliament. So the MPs have a responsibility to look beyond party persuasions, to look beyond ethnic persuasions, to look beyond geographical persuasions. They have that responsibility. Because that parliament...
But are you aware, you have seen that every time President Yoweri Museveni and the Central Executive Committee of the NRM decides on something, they carry the day. And by the way, you can go back many elections or many positions or policies of government, they have always carried the day. You know it is a Herculean task for you in this parliament for you to carry the day when President Yoweri Museveni has already selected. You are participating, yes. You can consistency. You can increase your votes of opposition by 100%, yes.
You know, Patrick,
but you'll come out short.
Patrick, you are not God. And you don't know what will happen tomorrow. Yes. I don't want you to arrogate spiritual powers. You interviewed the Wobushobozi, but don't think you were interviewing God. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. You have no control over destiny. You have no control over destiny. I think what is important for us as a country, as a people, as MPs, is to do what is expected of us. Not to begin engaging in theories, not to begin engaging in fantasies, but to do what is expected of us.
Actually, it's you engaging in fantasy.
No. You see,
the practical.
Let me tell you.
The reality.
The argument
your reality check. Your reality check is coming out tomorrow.
Kamara, the argument you are making is that we shouldn't participate because it's fait accompli. That's not how struggles are done. If the Mandelas had that mentality, they wouldn't have liberated South Africa. If Mr. Museveni had that mentality, with these 27 people, he wouldn't have liberated this country. So your argument is that because you are few, therefore boycott. We will not, with due respect, we will not share into that argument.
I can imagine in the mind of President Yoweri Museveni, when you bring the opposition because he has beaten you before 3, 4, 5 times, he thinks you are beatable and he has a record to show he'll beat you again.
Well, you can say so. But as I've told you, you never control destiny. You don't know what the future holds. That is the preserve of the Almighty. So I don't want us to sit here and assume that we actually know what will happen tomorrow. No. I think we have a duty. We have I know there is a tendency to vulgarize politics of this country, to keep away sane people, to keep away civil people. You create a situation that you see it is impossible to create room for boycott. We will not boycott. We are going to participate in this race. And we will engage our colleagues. And if they don't see our arguments, if they don't buy into our arguments, we will have put them across. So, Kamara, you cannot say we will not go through if we have not participated.
Well, I'm looking at the past experience. There is a precedent. And it is giving me.
Let me give you an example.
Give me a position for me to say these words.
Let me give you an example.
Because there has been a history.
Let me give you to debunk your history. Do you know that in the last election, Bobi Wine won in Usoga? Are you aware? Busoga is a sub-region. Are you aware?
He was running in Busoga, was running in Uganda.
No. I want to ask, you don't know where I'm heading to.
Yeah, because he was running for the presidency of Uganda.
Do you know that
Busoga is one part.
do you know that Busoga as a sub-region has never voted any other person apart from Mr. Museveni, except in the last election? Do you know why I'm giving you that picture?
That example doesn't work. Because
It works.
Honorable Chagulanyi was running for the presidency of Uganda, not Busoga.
No, it works.
Buganda.
The argument I'm saying, Kamara, the argument I'm saying is that things change.
All right. Let me go to Honorable.
Things are changed. Things change.
Just a moment, Honorable Kimosho. Let me go to Honorable.
It is only the man with a good name.
The man with a good name, yes. Okot Moses Junior Bitek.
Yes.
You know, when I was reading my literature, I used to read about Okot Bitek. Do you have any relation to Okot Bitek, by the way?
Oh, I have, yes, a relationship that is that of maternal consanguinity.
Okay.
Yes.
At least there is a Bitek blood in you.
Yeah. Yes.
So, you are running for deputy speaker tomorrow.
Sure.
And the people of northern Uganda, some of them I've listened to, were saying, look, give us this position.
Yes.
Maybe you would be the fallback position. It seems to be in your sights. Because if northern Uganda, West Nile and Karamoja region say, well, the Kimoshos have denied us what we want, at least we have our man, Okot Bitek.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kamara. Specifically, I want to appreciate my colleague Dan Kimosho and those in the NRM. There's something very unique and peculiar to my candidature in this race.
Yes.
I am the vice chair, Lao Parliamentary Caucus. I should be among the executive that is probably negotiating with the powers that be, the powers of the god of the alleged chairperson of the
Why should
NRM.
you even be in that negotiation?
Oh, you see, at this point in time, we're looking at my candidature is beyond probably sharing the national cake, petty and simplicity that has been brought in. Up to about 10 a.m. in the morning, I had not made my mind about running for this position. I was aware I'm capable of doing the same, but I was aware there were members who were capable of running this position. When my team went and met the chairperson of the party of the NRM,
The president.
And what was given to them was a mere puff, that we shall look into it. One, the late Jacob comes from the Okarowo clan, which is Lao.
Actually, Jacob Olanya was Langi.
Yes, comes from the Okarowo clan, which is Lao, where my mother comes from. And akin to the same, my mother is, or was, the campaign agent of the late Jacob in Lao sub-region, where he won Samengola in Lao, in the 9 districts of Lao. And very most to that effect, she's the chairperson of Women's League of the NRM, and I subscribe to the FDC. Meaning, the party owes me a duty, owes the people of northern Uganda a duty to take the legacy of the late Jacob. That is one. And then secondly, careless statements were made. Careless statements that derogate to simplicity, calling the people of Lao actually that probably they should go to hell. That was made. They are a good, actually is a dead one, made by Honorable Kabanda, and that of going to hell was made by Honorable Taibwa. And these are very center figures in the NRM.
I wouldn't want us to repeat these very explosive and funny words.
Most obliged.
That you have had.
Most obliged. Now, what I bring in this race One, I hail from the north. The opposition political parties, 6 of them, sat unanimously, and persons who had expressed interest and agreed that we've weighed into all our options. The national resistance movement, having the numbers in the House, is playing a hardball, a game of tyranny of numbers. I told them, I offer you the silver bullet. I want them to kick in their own net. I come from northern Uganda. I chair Lao Parliamentary Caucus. I caucus with these members. And we are saying, we do not want more that you're saying you're offering. There is a precedent that was set in the Yala election when a member passed on. And that precedent should be repeated this time. What is good for a gander should be good for a goose. You know that. And if it was good for the Central at that point, it should be good for Acholi or for the North at that time. And then secondly, there were decisions that were taken by the Central Executive Committee. There is a principle that of Audi alterem al patem. It's that.
Meaning what?
You cannot probably be let the other side also what? Be heard. Now, the Central Executive Committee of the NRM sat. Was their representation. The late Jacob should have sat in the Central Executive Committee to negotiate for what should be best for the North. And he wasn't present. So what? People sat, decided on the fate of the people of northern Uganda.
When they are not there.
When they are not
about
there.
them when they are not there.
When they are not there. And when they come out loudly to say, I personally, I ran on the FDC ticket. But I asked my people, I'm interested, probably let me go and sort the issues of our people. But you are at liberty to elect the president that you want. Now, that was the narrative in northern Uganda that gave almost 75% in my district to the NRM. And when we come now and saying, yes, we gave you what you ask of us. Since these are political dividends that you would have not got had we not been faithful to you, give us this position. We have competent people. We fronted very competent people. We thought they would appreciate. The Honorable Amson Obua had been in Parliament for time immemorial. The Honorable Felix Okotogong had been in Parliament for time immemorial.
Honorable Lillian
Aber, she's fairly educated, fairly experienced in leadership and the rest. And she reflects the face of the young people. So we said all these attributes could persuade you to think that we have brought men of substance. And if they didn't appreciate that, then the opposition did offer me that opportunity that I gladly seized it. And I am here substantially in this seat.
So you have the blessing of the entire opposition in Uganda to run for deputy speaker, and you're from Lango.
Yes.
Gentlemen, we're going to take a break, and on the spot, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On The Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Honorable Dan Kimosho, Honorable Asuman Basalirwa, and Honorable Okot Moses Junior Bitek. And we're discussing this race, the speakership race, and tomorrow Parliament will be constituted to elect the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. Honorable Kimosho, right now, when I'm listening to these two gentlemen, your colleagues, but also what I'm listening and reading on social media and all that, I really feel that the country is so much divided right now politically than ever. Why? Because you have not listened to the people who are in this somber and sorrowful mood and are asking, grant us what really should be our position. And some will be saying, really, is that too much to ask?
Thank you. You see, one, I want to clarify one thing, because I was in the caucus. When the president met SEC today, he presented the request made by the northern MPs, because he met them in the State House today in the morning, from West Nile, Lango and Acholi. And they put their request. When he did not promise them puff like my colleague wants to put it. He said, let me go and consult SEC. He came and consulted SEC. And SEC was clear. The issue of East Africa, Yara, my brother highlighted it, does not apply in this case. The practice in Yara is that we know the slots. And these slots are divided to regions. And that has been the practice. So you know this one represents north, east, west. It is clear cut. So when you lose one of them, you know it is automatic that you, to be fair, you replace it with that person. Otherwise, how else would you have convinced Eastern Uganda and Busoga to remove Kadaga if positions were to be, because then leaders would be bona fide pants of these positions that there is, if you, even when you get out, you edge out, your son will claim this is my position. And that was the emphasis of the president. Let's not fall in the trap of ring fencing national positions, that where people need to exercise their right to vote. What we can do.
But he has ring fenced the position himself for 40 years.
He said, what we can do, what we can do,
those issues. Okay.
What we can do, and he made it clear. He said, I'm the head of state. And we have many other positions. We shall see how to address the issues of northern Uganda in other deployments. But for this, let's leave people to exercise their right and not fall in the trap of ring fencing positions that would otherwise need to be elected by people. The other thing, and he had started very well, but he deliberately swerved. He said he's not a candidate representing the simplistic, the way they have made it simplistic and trivialized it in terms of making it a tribal and a region issue. And I thought he was going to continue on that trajectory, but he deliberately again swerved and, of course, mixed in what he wanted to say. Now,
it's paradoxical. One part is true, the other side is also true.
Now, when we were in the previous election that brought in our departed leader, I do not remember us, unless these guys are saying they were hiding something away from us. They did not, there was no mention of a tribe, region, or religion. What I remember we mentioned consistently was the precedent that the speaker, he serves 10 years, leaves, and the deputy speaker comes. That's what was cutting across, to the extent that the person who was heading the campaign team of our party leader was not from the north. And I think we have lost a lot in Right Honorable Jacob, because he had become a uniting force.
That's for sure.
I think that for sure we have lost a lot.
This
and
country has lost a
whenever really we go into these debates of tribes, clans, religion, it really takes me aback, and I feel God maybe really tested us beyond measure, because this is not what I have realized, Kamara, my little time in Parliament, Uganda is a greatly divided country. Anything, anything, it will evoke tribal talk, even for very serious leaders. Me, I get scared. It becomes us. It narrows down now. It started as northern Uganda. It narrowed down to Acholi. Then, now my brother, to sound more authentic, he says, actually this man is from Lango. Yet, most of us thought the man was from Acholi. And this is not to him. I'm not blaming him or even any other. We are highly divided. I don't know how we can bridge the gap and look at Uganda as a compound thing.
Okay, let me come to you, Honorable Asuman Basalirwa. I know tomorrow you are in the race, and I'm sure tonight probably you'll not be sleeping, making calls and all that, and I'm sure you're itching just to get up because you have a lot of work between now and tomorrow. But also, Honorable Basalirwa, you come from the East. The Right Honorable Among Anita Among is coming from the East. That's another...
And the Vice President.
Okay.
And the another Prime Minister.
Let me leave it at that. Leave it at that. Do you is this a stepping stone or a stumbling block for you?
Well, I represent a team in Parliament, and I don't want to doubt their sense of judgment. The political parties, by the way, unlike my brother, Honorable Okot here, who went through an opposite, for me I went through a vote. I contested with the Honorable Jonathan Odur from Erote in Lango. So it could have been the Honorable Odur from Lango. But the colleagues that voted me and gave me the mandate knew all those dynamics. But I am very sure their sense of judgment went beyond those dynamics. They were looking at a Basalirwa capable of steering that house, capable of giving opportunity to Dan with an RM and from Kazo to Okot with FDC and from Lango to all these people. So they are looking at the constitutional role of the office of the Speaker of Parliament and the role Parliament plays in the configuration of this country, broadly speaking. So those other aspects that you bring in, that Basalirwa is from the East, the Right Honorable Among is from the East, those are realities on the ground, but they are not a bar to ambition. They are not a bar to the contest. Ultimately, for me, I think that at the end of it all, there should be two things. Number one, we should have a platform to articulate our agenda for the Parliament and the country. That's one. And that number two, the MPs should make decisions on the basis of what we stand for. When I was contesting in Makerere many years ago,
For guild president.
for guild president, there's a statement that I keep mentioning. Ability is functional. It is not determined by tribe. It's not determined by religion. It's not determined by height. It's not determined by color. It is functional. So I want to think that nobody should discount my candidature on the basis that, you know, Right Honorable Anita is from the East and Basalirwa is from the East. I absolutely find no contradiction in that. As a matter of fact, it is a question you should ask him why they entrusted me. He should be the one to answer. Because me, I offered myself, and in offering myself, well, I didn't look at...
You didn't stand against the Honorable Court, so
no,
you never know how it could have been.
No, I say it's just a representative of the caucus. I'm using it in that context. I'm not singling him out. It belongs to the electoral college, if I may use that term. So you ask him and the others. So I think let's broaden the discussion and look at the role of the office of the Speaker, the constitutional roles, the administrative roles, and the role of Parliament. And today, when I was speaking to them, I recounted what Professor A.V. Dicey said about the sovereignty of Parliament. Parliament can do and undo anything, especially related to legislation. And I want us to focus on that. And I think moving forward, that will be my agenda.
Okay, let me come to you, Honorable Court.
Yes, please.
And I didn't want to bring in some of these comments, but this one I can't leave, because people of high repute, of high name recognition, including the paramount chief of the Acholi, David Onena Chana, were doubtful that the Right Honorable Jacob Oulanyah actually died of natural causes. And this is not like he's saying it on one-on-one. He's saying it in public. And this is the paramount chief of the Acholi. How do we mend fences? How do we recover from such explosive statements made by people of high repute in this regard?
Oh, Kamara, there is a very old adage that is still very useful. That walks and quacks like a duck is a duck. You know that. The people of northern Uganda have, for quite some time, after the war, appreciated that Obote is no more, Tito is no more, Idi Amin is no more. We submit to the government of President Yoweri Museveni. But we then offered our strong men for national leadership in different fields. But it is unique and peculiar to the extent that only these strong men that we feel we have offered for national leadership are dying in unclear circumstances. Inter alia Walter Ochora, General Kera, General Lokech, and now the Right Honorable Jacob Oulanyah. Now, there is something that we feel, and that is the sentiment in the North, that, you know, these are not innocent. Why? I mean, take any member of the society, any hoi polloi. Why do you take the best of our men? And then in the times of explanation, the circumstances that surround them, you're not clear. You heard what was here. The General Lokech, he died of a blood clot, a general, after falling from a chair. No, I mean, to any right-thinking member of the society, it's questionable. And then the late Jacob, the government decided to make his illness or declarations to such be a very private, high-profile, like they say it's a, I mean, it's a state secret that they never wanted it for the public domain.
But
now, when you keep
that how it should be, private health issues are a private matter. Even the doctors cannot.
The brother of the late,
this is a problem with your.
There's immediate family. The immediate family should have been aware of this. But also, when I confess, a dying man's declaration is always in law. It's undisputable evidence in most cases. It's admissible. If a dying man told his father that I was killed by A and B, and even prior to this, the president himself came out very clearly and said they would investigate the circumstance under which Jacob allegedly should have been poisoned. Now, after this, the demise of the speaker, we expected the government had an obligation to come out very clearly that we are aware of the former position that we did state. We are also aware of the position that is being stated by the family, and we want to take interest into that. But everybody around is just rubbishing that the old man is grieving. Now, that is what is not auguring well with our people.
All right, okay, let's leave that because there's a post-mortem that's going to come and to be read, and Ugandans will get to know. I raised it now here because I heard with my own ears the paramount chief of the Acholi say something like that, and I thought, okay, now that the chief first talked about it.
And you see, the very least, the Acholi have a very unique culture. We're saying, if we are saying you didn't, probably the government, they don't have a hand in it, was an innocent death, let us bury our son according to our tradition. But the government is saying, yes, no, we were not going to allow you to bury that way. Now that brings the question of mistrust. Let us bury our son in the manner.
What do you mean according to tradition?
please.
What would that entail?
I do not profess, I am not an expert in cultural matters, but there is, if the paramount chief did say very clearly that they want to bury their son in the customs and practices of Acholi, and you will agree with me that if a custom is not repugnant to good doctrine, like we still say,
you're talking of a vengeful spirit. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
No, that's what precisely the custom says.
Yes.
The spirit will haunt. If they are allowed to bury according to the custom,
yes,
the spirit will haunt the killer.
yeah.
And eventually, the killer will be known. And the example they give is the one of Kanyamunyu and Akena.
All right, all right,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
That's a little bit digressing. But do you realize, because now the government's in the hands of the NRM party, you are the party in power,
Yeah.
do you realize the kind of acrimony we seem to be in? Anyway, you've said that you have witnessed divisions in the parliament and all that. We are descending more into our cocoons as tribes and ethnic groupings than the entity called Uganda, and that's a shame.
Thank you very much, Kamara. But maybe you allow me rectify a bit on what he's saying. Following up on his presentation, he doesn't believe anyone should die from their region, especially when they're big people, because he counted the people that have died.
I gave you presumptions, which are juxtaposition. I qualified it with something that walks and quacks like a duck, being a duck. It is not.
In his view, all the people that he counted for us ought not have died. And if they
under sinister,
and now
under sinister situations.
Now that they passed away, there must be something wrong. I think we must accept to get over some of these things. We have seen very prominent people world over die. You can't say that Basalirwa cannot die. I can knock my head on that door and die. You can't say, how can a big Kimosho die like that? No, that is, it's neither.
Why do you give Basalirwa?
It is not scientific.
It is cloth loading.
It is not, you know, being a candidate now is the most controversial verse. But now, that is, my brother, that is not scientific. It's not even biblical. It's not even, I don't think even if we examine the cultures we are talking about, it's not written anywhere that Kamara or Kimosho will die of X or Y, Z. So I think, yes, there will be suspicions therein, but I also don't know of any African who died of a natural death. I have not known of any. And that's why HIV took most of our people when it has, in 1990s. They accepted that it was a disease later. People in that corridor, Rakai, they thought they were being bewitched. Now bewitching has ceased. Even when Kimosho dies of his challenges, they think it is poison. I think let us, I don't want even to digress into that.
Even if it's
because
a plane crash,
actually, even when a plane crashes and you are there, Kimosho is there, they would say the opponent. Yeah, I've seen, I have seen very obvious situations. Someone gets an accident and they say, Kamara is the problem. But I think we may need to get over to that level, and we accept that there is life.
So, all right, gentlemen, the two of you, are candidates.
Yes.
But
and tomorrow, yes, now I just want to know, there are some members of parliament, your colleagues who are watching you right now, and probably you could be the speaker, could be the deputy, and why should they entrust you?
Kamara, maybe before you go there, permit me
but
just
I'm
one
actually
minute.
giving you an opportunity, and you're saying you shouldn't go there.
No, on this matter, I don't want us to go there. Before I comment on this matter, my brother Dan and people out there, we should be asking, why have we found ourselves in this situation?
Yes.
Why the suspicion?
Yes.
Can we, for example, as a country, try to understand, can we research on why these suspicions are there? And maybe if we get to know why the suspicions exist, perhaps in future we will try to avert them. So for me,
So what would be the focus of your research in this specific case?
no. How does a population get so uncomfortable with the deaths that each time they occur, they are attributed to some people? Why? Why are people losing confidence even in official statements? Why? Because you see, you talked about the paramount chief, but even the father, his own record, he was quoted in your sister publication, The Monitor, saying the son told him that he had been poisoned by a lady somewhere. Okay? He did not state that the lady was government, no. But he said that information, and that he had said the father should inform the president. At least that is on record in The Monitor of the other day. So, can we understand? Are we just being Africans that we are, that you talk about, that nobody dies of natural causes? Is there a reason why we have these suspicions? You know, I will tell you, Dan, people who have been inside this government, like General Tinyefunza, have come out and said there is poisoning. Yeah. This was a senior UPDF officer.
How come he didn't die? He served it.
No.
He served it. Just wait. He served it, left it, came back, served it, left it.
If you watch
Unless he's saying he was the one administering.
he said how he averted. He walked with chapatis in the, and water in his jacket. He didn't say so.
I have seen people. I've seen people.
Did you hear him say the same?
I have seen people enjoy, Kamara. I have seen people enjoy the glory of this government and they are praise singers. When they fall out, they start arranging things that are unimaginable. And when you sit with them, they cannot just.
Gentlemen, hold on.
Yes.
Ceasefire, gentlemen. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'll open the line so that you too can be a part of this discussion. You're going to see the numbers on the screen. Pick your phone and call us, and we shall be giving the opportunity to the candidates who are in this on this platform, maybe to make their charm offensive to you, who could be a member of the electorate tomorrow. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On The Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Honorable Dan Kimosho, Honorable Asuman Basalirwa, and Honorable Okot Moses Bitek. Okot Moses Junior Bitek. And this is the moment when you get to have your say. You're going to see the numbers on the screen. You pick your phone and call us. And please be precise and concise. And in case you disagree with any of us here, that's okay. It's the nature of debate. But we ask you to disagree with respect. So, but before we do that, Asumani and Moses, you are candidates.
Yes.
This is the moment when you have to make your charm offensive.
Thank you.
Yes, Okot.
Thank you very much. I will let him probably submit after I have force of seniority, and I intend to work with him.
Look at the man who wants to
jointly
prepare his
and
mind.
severally.
Okay.
What I bring in this contest, one, I'm a lawyer by profession, grounded on points of law, and which is a prerequisite for manning that house. Two, we wanted to sanitize our house for quite some time. The image we had carried in the recent past is that Parliament had degenerated to people craving for earlier parliaments that came prior to us. People crave for the 7th, 8th Parliament. We want to rebuild the image of that institution. But we must appreciate that when this country decided in the 1999 to go into multi-party dispensation, in the famous referendum, we had to say we're going to have a house that must have the opposition and the ruling party. But for quite some time, it has been a tyranny of mob. So I bring the balance in here to have, in fact, our initially we were looking at a panel of speakers in Parliament so that we could have opposition reflected in that house, so that not all members of Parliament are given equal opportunities to speak, to represent, and to have matters take a discourse that would benefit the nation. But the very most, I offer glue to mending the political divide in this country for two major reasons. One, I come from a minority political party at the time in Parliament, the FDC, but the National Unity Platform, which is a majority party, decided to say, we are deciding to have unity in our house, and we are going to elect somebody irrespective of his political background. Then two, there has always been a talk of the Buganda, North and Lao thing. I come from Lao. Majority of members of the National Unity Platform that dominated the caucus that did unanimously agree and become a candidate are from Uganda. They said, yeah, we want to mend what is here. We want, as a party, to show the people of Acholi, Lao, and West Nile that we have realized your plight. We are intending to offer you the handkerchief to mourn your brother. And the other thing is, in light of doing the same, the late Honorable Jacob, the Right Honorable Jacob, comes from Lao, comes from Acholi. And we were asking for a share of the national cake. Hold on. We were asking for a share of the national cake. A share in which our members, informed or uninformed, members of Parliament or not members of Parliament, did ask. And when they ask, they receive a backlash from the powers that be. My adversary did say they should go to hell. The campaign agents for the adversary and the speaker did say they actually had good when they're dead. Now, these are statements that hold a lot of sentiment. So what we're saying, Jacob had a legacy. He was an advocate, very grounded on points of law, very grounded, and he had practice. Of course, he was very persuasive. The House needed maturity and needed somebody who has a lens that sees beyond what any ordinary person in normal circumstances sees. And that is the unity, the respect he had brought in the House, which we thought we should bring to this House. So what I offer in this House, reasoned debate is agitation. Unity is agitation. Balance, multi-party democracy, dispensation, principle of rule of law. And the very last, I want, my candidature here is to bring separation of power. That was articulated by the seasoned French philosopher Montesquieu. Existence of a government in a trinity, a tripartite arrangement, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, but able to work together, but independent enough to check each other, which was lacking. And I believe if we print what is in here, we shall not have a house that is able to check the executive. I have been in that house, but I crave for a day when the members will allow me to persuade them on facts, on law, and that would be the basis of that vote. But that doesn't happen. What happens in our parliament at the time, the voting or decisions are made in Nakasero or in NTV and imposed on the members. So the highs always have it. That is the nature of our debate in parliament, and that narrative, I want to take it off.
All right. Well, Honorable Basalirwa, of course your ability is known. You have been tested. Former guild president, party president of a political party.
I was a guild president too.
Okay.
Who?
So you are formidable candidates, but I could actually even speak for you, but you can speak for yourself.
Patrick, we seek to replace Jacob. And the only way we can remember Jacob is if we push his legacy forward. So my candidature partly is intended to push the legacy of Jacob forward. And Jacob had 4 things. I knew Jacob in 1998. Jacob was a personal friend. I knew him in 1998. In fact, in 2006, I, Jacob, Bishop Bamoze, worked so closely with the late Honorable Agura Wari when he contested. When Jacob gave a speech in Serena, after Agure had returned from the US and we were planning his candidature, we were together. So he has a legacy that he has left. And we want to push that legacy, and I want to identify 3 things. Number 1, the aspect of timekeeping and management, which is very critical in the dispensation of our work. That is an agenda I want to push forward in remembrance of Jacob. Number 2, Jacob enjoyed and cherished research, knowledge, and information. I recall one time he was chairing a session and we were discussing telecommunication sector. And you know, we are very many. He was giving every MP 2 minutes. There was a colleague who stood up and was given 2 minutes, but he was very knowledgeable in the sector. And Jacob said, colleagues, I think it does no harm if we added this colleague more 3 minutes. And we all agreed. Jacob loved, cherished knowledge and information. In fact, each time he had an opportunity to address MPs in other fora, his advice was always, please do research. Never make a contribution in the House if it is not researched. And I want to continue with that agenda, to encourage colleagues to be research-oriented and at the end of it all, make submissions on that basis. The other aspect is farm knowledge. You know, I and Jacob share something. I've been a member of the Rules Committee. He was a member of that committee. I'm a member of the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. He was a member of that committee. Belonging to those 2 committees gives you 2 advantages. 1, you get exposed to rules of procedure. And that exposure is key in running that house. Number 2, the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee processes almost 60 or 70% of the bills that go through that house. So you are exposed to a broad array of knowledge in matters of the law. The laws that govern both Parliament, but also the country. So that attribute is one of the unique features that I bring in that race. And then 3, Jacob had a strong sense of humor, an infectious smile. And he would read the mood. And one of the aspects of a good leader, we call it audience demography. He would read the mood of the MPs. And to get them back, he would crack 1 or 2 jokes. And everybody is back. Because you don't make Parliament appear to be a very serious and tense. No. There must be light moments. I'll give you an example. One time, Golola, you know Golola. Golola came to that house one time, and he was seated in the gallery, and he was introduced. The Right Honorable Kadaga was chairing Parliament, and one of the MPs, the female MPs, stood up and said, Right Honorable Speaker, is it in order for the Honorable, for Mr. Golola to be in the gallery, and yet is on record for saying is the only man who can just look at a woman and the woman gets pregnant? And the Right Honorable Kadaga said, again in jest, please Golola, don't look at the women MPs, and you women MPs don't look at Golola to avoid getting pregnant. Okay? But you see, when she was standing to raise a point of order, ordinarily, you know, that's a small issue. But there are those moments of just those light moments. Jacob was a master of those light moments. They bring the house to bear on the situation. So we want to look at that legacy, and the best way to remember the Right Honorable Jacob is to keep that legacy. That's over and above other aspects that we bring on the table. Okay. Issues to do with the equity, issues to do with taking Parliament closer to the people, and making pro-people legislation, making Parliament accountable to itself, but also accountable to the population. All right.
Let me open the lines so that you two at home or wherever you are, you can call us and tell us what you think about these issues. I already have a call online. Hello. Hello. I have a call online. Hello. Okay. Looks like I'm having comms challenges to that line, and you can. We're going to pick another caller. I have another call online. Hello.
Hello. Yes, what?
Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Justice Kanyampa. I'm calling from Okot. And my should address to
I apologize for that line. It's not very clear at all. So I'm dropping it. It is giving us challenges. And let me try to pick another caller online. I'm very sorry about that, sir. But perhaps you could call again. And when you call, tell us your name and where you're coming from, and go straight to your question or comment. And if should you be having a question to any of the panelists here, also make that known so that you can be answered immediately. Okay. So I have another caller line. Hello. There is one thing I have seen as we rectify that technical hitch. It looks like Ugandans were interested in positions, appointments, and today I belong to a WhatsApp group of a district called Chenjojo. That's where I come from. And in fact, that WhatsApp group is for the district chairman, Gilbert Rubaihayo. And I was just a few minutes back, I was having a conversation with one of our colleagues who was like, Chenjojo has been neglected. We have no appointment. Ministers are at this. I'm like, look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I don't care whether we have been appointed or not. What we care is, do we have good schools? Do we have medical care? Do we have roads? Do we have electricity? Do we have running water? Why are we so fixated on the positions? Let him go first, because...
I wanted to rectify something that he deliberately distorted. When he said that today NUP has given them a handkerchief to wipe their tears. Recently, the same NUP was chasing our departed leader from Seattle to go back to Kampala and die. So you mean they wanted him to die and then they give you a handkerchief in the name of nominating you?
I didn't see that coming. But
so you see, really, I don't know what to expect with politics. But I want us to be real, especially in very serious situations. And I really want to see how my brother takes his NUP people who have given him a flag, even on the burial site of the man they were telling, go back to Kampala, and you have delayed death. You, Museveni, and your government, you have delayed death. Take this man back to Kampala, and he dies fast. And now the man is telling us they gave him a handkerchief. To do what?
Were they NUP?
Were they NUP? Can you qualify that? Can you qualify it?
Yes. These were people dressed in their coat berets, in red. And by the way, certainly, did anyone come out even to deny them? Mm-hmm. So I think we don't need, actually, even the president of NUP recently was on a barrio telling people that we are burying someone. The Speaker of Parliament was taken to Seattle using 1-point-something billion. What castigating government? That government.
Mr. Dan.
Wait.
You see, you're going petty, and when you've gone that petty,
I thought you need
me to rebut that.
You needed to listen.
You've already made a point. Do you want me to rebut that?
I thought you needed to listen.
You need to be informed.
Because I'm rebutting. I'm rebutting a distortion. The man who gave you a handkerchief today to wipe your tears
You have made that point now.
No. Bobby Wine now. Bobby Wine
Yeah, you have made
was
that
saying.
Point. You're now regurgitating it.
Exactly.
Kamara,
Exactly.
I want to give him more facts.
No.
And then
You've already made your point.
The
Yeah,
same
you made
point
your point.
in-
Now let me inform my dear brother. One, I do not speak for the National Unity Platform, but I am a member of the opposition, and I hold the opposition a duty in this country to put facts right. The people, I do not see, the leadership of the National Unity Platform was right in Uganda. I do not see any member of parliament or anybody in the structure of the national leadership that said what they did say in Seattle. The communication that was done in Seattle is a group of Ugandans who live in the diaspora, who are disappointed, one, in service delivery in the country. The packaging of the information could have been bad, but the information that should have sunk down in the system is that why do we, in such situation, do not create situations that make our people in high-profile situations comfortable within here? If can a common man, hoi polloi, fly to Seattle? That is the narrative they were saying. And so we don't want it to be very tribal. The system should learn, our hospitals, education, and the rest. We do appropriation. You are with me in Parliament. From today henceforth, we should be able to do our oversight purely well to make sure that all what we intend for the people is fitting enough for us here. We've suffered during COVID-19. When countries locked down their borders, when they did lock down their borders, people passed on in this country. And our people who pray in treatment in foreign hospitals did suffer. They did suffer. And we don't want such to happen again. And that is the message which was being passed.
All right. Looks like we had a technical hitch and then the phones are not coming in right. But you gentlemen, you have made your points. I want you maybe to give us your closing arguments. Let me begin with you, Honorable Dan Kimosho, your parting shot.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kamara.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I know at one point everything. Now, tomorrow, as I call upon members of Parliament, we have a tested candidate. Tested candidates, by the way, as the NRM that we are presenting to the House. Right Honorable Anita Among, 9 months in that chair, 76 sittings, unifying Parliament. Actually, even when these honorable colleagues are talking, I think opposition has had the biggest space ever in that Parliament during her time because she's a uniting factor. Non-vengeful. I can tell you, Kamara, I did not support her until when she was coming for Deputy Speaker. And I campaigned her vigorously. But when she won, she called all of us to work with her. And finally, she has the national agenda on her focus. And that is the leader that we want. The rest we shall support her with the Honorable Tayeba, who has been a government chief whip, running government business actually in that house. Very committed, young man, energetic, willing to learn even more. So I think we have the best team. My colleagues here can join us and we shall certainly work together.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Okot, your parting shot.
Well, thank you very much. It's unfortunate that I have today been drawn into a debate of discussing issues that put me in very precarious situations, yet I'm a candidate for tomorrow. But first of all, I send my sincere condolence to the family of the late Jacob and all our people who are grieving for the loss. I also urge our people of Omoro to maintain calmness. I've seen situations where they are getting a little bit tough because of what is happening. We're going to go through this. To the honorable members of Parliament, if we don't seize this opportunity of taking back our Parliament, we have always had situations where we've had crossroads with the executive. The only avenue you have in that docket is to have myself in that docket. I offer to you cool-headedness, accessibility by all members of parliament, mostly the new young turks in that parliament. Also understanding the composition of members of parliament that probably understand that the composition is full of young men that probably hold this country about 10 to 15, 20 years in leadership. If that career must be set right, then you need somebody that is to row or redirect the House to a line which you will have a legacy that would reckon a legacy of the late Okuli Park, a legacy of the late Zakerulum, a legacy of the late Wapapogulu, a legacy of Honorable Cecilia's, not this legacy that, let me also try, which we are in, to the extent that our value as legislators have been taken away, that we have now become independent governments to provide handouts to the electorate, but we are not voted for the substance we are in. So I need to take you back to where the electorates believe in your capacity to run the country as a arm of government.
Thank you so much, Honorable Asumani. Your parting shot.
Well, thank you very much. Colleagues, honorable members of parliament, what I beg of them is to give us opportunity to listen to us. Listen to what we stand for. Listen to our agenda. Fortunately, we've been together. This election, unlike the other one, we were venturing in the unknown. We had just been sworn in. We didn't know who is who. This election is coming 6-7 months later. We've been together for 7 months. We know each other's capabilities. We know who is capable of doing what. I want to invite colleagues to use that limited time we've been together to make the best judgment. And at the end of it all, we will be able to accommodate and move with those who will be the winners, and those who will not have won, they will believe in the victory. So the process should be such that there must be opportunity for people to exercise their own sense of judgment without duress and undue influence. That's what I call of my colleagues. and once we do that tomorrow, you are going to find in the history of this country where we will come out of an electoral process and we all satisfied and we all winners.
All right. I want to thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. I want to thank you for your contributions. And for those of you, the two of you who are candidates, this program, I don't want to say this station, this program, On The Spot, wishes you luck tomorrow. And I hope it is going to be okay. I believe. Good luck to your candidate as well. Gentlemen, I know we are a good country. I know we are good people. And I know we mean well. Tomorrow, you as members of parliament, you have a decision to make. And what is the decision making? Analyzing the pros and cons of options available to you. And you choose that position which you will take. But as you choose that position tomorrow, don't even choose for yourself. Choose for Uganda. Good night, and God bless Uganda.